Hello, namaste, good evening. I am Bhavya Jineja. Welcome you all to our favorite show, Master Stroke. In today's show, we will discuss about the pandemic COVID-19, which originated in the city of Wuhan, China in December 19 and quickly spread like a wildfire into various countries. Do you know where did the first case of corona emerged in India? It actually emerged in India on 27 January 2020 in Kerala. The pandemic has led to a dramatic loss of human life worldwide. We are here to discuss about safety measures, unlock 5, vaccination, future plans. Regarding this, we have some experts. Ms. Akshita Sharma, who is an environmentalist,
Hello everyone.
Mr. Bhavya Malhotra, who is a psychologist,
Hey, hi, cheers India, keep rocking.
Ms. Madiha Ansari, who is the senior editor of Covaxin Manufacturing Unit,
Namaskar everyone.
and then Mr. Sujal, who is from the Planning Commission of Vaccine Drive of India.
Hello everyone.
And then last but not the least, we have Mahir Bali as the senior editor of India's Today's Group.
Jai Hind everyone.
So, Miss Akshita, there is a question which is arising in my mind that in spite of so many destructions, why some people are still saying there are some positive impacts of COVID-19.
Firstly, Mr. Bhavya, I'm glad that you invited me to this show. Now, coming to your question, I agree that COVID-19 has caused a lot of destructions in our lives, but in spite of that, the lockdown has induced numerous positive effects on the environment and energy consumption. For instance, the lockdown has reduced the electricity demand by 30% in India and many other countries. Additionally, the expenditure on food supply has also reduced by 4% in 2020 as compared to the previous years. In particular, the global demand for coal fuel has also decreased by 8% in March and April 2020 as compared to the same time in 2019. In terms of harmful emissions also, the lockdown has reduced the emission of harmful nitrous oxide by 200% in New Delhi, which in turn has enhanced the air quality in a never seen way. So yes, we can say that overall, while the COVID-19 pandemic has shrunk the global economy by 13 to 32%, it has also benefited some sectors of society which can be considered as a spotlight for the permanent revival of global ecosystem. So I hope you have got answers to your questions.
Okay, so thank you, Miss Akshita. So, Mr. Bhavya, in your opinion, what is the role of a positive mindset in combating COVID-19?
So, my dear friends, as you all know, coronavirus enters our body through nose, mouth, and eyes. As we all know that coronavirus is more dangerous to old population of this country and the one who are recovering from another problems. Thank you. Secondly, my dear friends, I want to emphasize that medical researchers all over the world are highly amazed to see wonderful impact of a positive mind frame while recovering from this deadly virus. Third point, my dear friends, studies have proved that negative thinking can weaken our immune system. Research also suggests that there is a strong link between positive mind frame and recovering from COVID-19. Positive thinking increases endorphins and dopamine in our body. Now, what is endorphins and dopamine? They are the guys that helps us to be happy every time. They sends hormones to the immune system that all is right and we can fight with this deadly virus. Now, my friends, our body has a mechanism to digest diseases itself. We must have faith in God and our good deeds. positive thinking helps us building resiliency. Now, what is resiliency? Resiliency is the ability of our body to fight and survive in difficult conditions of our life. In our this resiliency helps us to fight COVID-19 with a strong immunity in our body. Fourthly, we will ask.
Okay, so Bhavya, would you like to give some suggestions to fight this deadly pandemic?
Yes, my friend. I would surely want to suggest some short ways which are even suggested with WHO and our IMA, Indian Medical Association. Firstly, do not underestimate the power of smile and laughter. Someone has rightly said, my friends, that smile and laughter are the two best medicines in the world. Smile tells the mind that all is well. Laughter strengthens our defense mechanism to fight this virus. Secondly, practice deep breathing. Third, spend time in nature and try to spend some time with yourselves and your family. That India has done in certain times when we were quarantined in our rooms with our family. Do some light exercises and walk daily. Don't forget to imply this rule in your life, that walk daily. Fifth, but last but not the least, have faith in God and good deeds. That was it. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, as you said, Mr. Bhavya, a healthy body keeps a healthy mind. Thank you. So, Miss Madiha, do you think we have enough doses of Covishield or Covaxin as the government is promising to vaccinate the entire country by the end of 2021?
First of all, I would like to thank you, Bhavya, for inviting me in this master talk. Thank you for making time to speak with me today. Yeah, according to me, there are not sufficient doses. Currently, only 3.67% of the entire country population has been fully vaccinated. If we take into the account of adult population, who are those who are 18 and above, has been fully vaccinated, and the coverage would be 5.5% roughly. The aim is to produce more than 300 doses of a Sputnik a year in India. When the target is might be cleared is not achieved yet. Bharat Biotech hasn't fulfilled an earlier order of 80 million doses between January and July. As of 16 July, only 6 million had been delivered. Doctors and people are talking about the third wave. Do we have enough vaccines? No, we do not have enough vaccines. Look at the population of India. We are not fully prepared to fight the third wave. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yes, Miss Madiha, as per the data given by you, we are not ready to fight the third wave. Thank you. So, Mr. Sujal, would you like to throw some light on the vaccine policy of India?
Thank you, Mr. Bhavya, for having me in this show. Fine theories and good policies are often frustrated in the encounter with facts and implementation processes in the field. India's COVID-19 vaccine policy, recently unveiled, must take care not to head that way and make adequate allowance for the ground realities that could render not well laid plans. With a definitive cure not yet available for COVID-19, vaccines present in the world with the best strategy to slow the virus down. Its track along with measure of burst herd immunity. The UK and US vaccinating their people, and India has announced its future plan and proposed the lineup for COVID-19 vaccination. Shortly after the Union Health Minister denied that the government could ever committed to COVID-19 vaccination for all in the country. As per the government strategy, the vaccination is to be given first to healthcare workers and then the people over the age 50 and those over 60 given priority. Now, India has started vaccinating people over the age of 18. This will amount to about 30 crore people. The voter list of Lok Sabha Assembly election polls have been set as verifying document for the process. A new digital platform, CoWIN, will used for COVID-19 vaccination delivery, and about 1.54 lakh nurses, midwives on universal immunization program will be roped as vaccinators, with more such field staff to be mobilized in collaboration with states. Cold chain systems is to be strengthened across the country to deliver multiple doses. That's all, Mr. Bhavya, over to you.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Sujal. Uh, Thank you for sharing this information. So, Mr. Mahir, the government has locked down the whole country. Now, almost the whole country is unlocked. So, do you think it is a wise decision as the cases are rising again?
Thank you, Bhavya. First of all, thank you, Bhavya, for inviting me in this show. It's an honor for me to be a part of it, and I hope that you and your family are pink in health by the grace of God. So, yeah, coming back to your question, that is unlocking down a wise decision by the government. So, as we know that people had been told not to step out of the house except for essentials such as groceries, medicines, masks, and social distancing. These all things became a norm by March last year. The whole country was in the grip of a paranoia of contracting the COVID-19 virus. It also caused havoc with the livelihoods of people. Several lost jobs, while many were forced to take pay cuts. Millions, on the other hand, were pushed into poverty. Unemployment rate surged to 23.52% by April 2020, with both rural and urban areas taking a hit. Severity of the lockdown in April and May last year resulted in India's GDP contracting to 24.38% in the June 2020 quarter. With the movement of goods and people restricted, global trade also took a hit. While exports from India tumbled 56.4% in April, imports fell down to 54.6%. Lack of labor and travel restrictions caused trade, hotels, transport, and construction to be the worst impacted sectors. As per the information from the Pew Research Center, 75 million people were pushed into living at $2 or less a day due to the many lockdowns in 2020. And according to the inequality virus, 84% of households suffered a loss in income, and 1,70,000 people lost their jobs every hour in the month last year. As per the popular belief, though, not every sector experienced loss. On the contrary, many sectors proved resilient to the lockdown and actually benefited from it too. Digital payments and OTT platforms, other technology-based businesses such as RedTech, online health insurance, online fitness, and online telecommunication, etc., were seeing significant surge in popularity by August 2020. Online classes became a huge part of educational institutions and schools, upgrading the visual lifestyle of students. Indian billionaires also benefited from the lockdown. According to the Oxfam report, which was released in January last year, stated that the wealth of Indian billionaires rose by 35% during the lockdown. Now it's clear that while there are some people who were benefited from the lockdown, the losers outnumbered the gainers by long stretch. The lessons from the last year lockdown is that such severe lockdowns should be avoided in the future. Experts also think that though the third wave of infection is surging, a complete lockdown is not recommended. Surprisingly, farm sector they put up brave front during the lockdown with GDP of agriculture, forestry, and fishing recording 3.26% growth in the first quarter of financial year 2021, even as most other sectors shrank. People turned to digital means for shopping, payments, entertainment, etc. because of prolonged lockdowns, which led to the boom for e-commerce. I remember a quote of Mr. Madan Sabnavis, who is the chief economist of the CARE rating. He said that it will affect the business plan of the industry severely, and hence planning for the future will become a challenge. He further added that the states should focus more on vaccinating the population so that they become resilient to the virus. Instead of imposing lockdowns, I think it is inevitably going to affect the country's economy. Therefore, I believe that unlocking the country is a wise decision. I hope you got the answer.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mahir. So, our experts has reminded us that our mission is clear. Our challenge is great. No one is safe from COVID until everybody is safe. Thank you. So, listeners, we will meet again at the same show at the same time. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Jai Hind.